Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today I have a case study to share with all of you related to love bombing and monkey branching. This comes from a man in his late 40s who found himself involved with a woman who took advantage of him emotionally, exploited him, and finally betrayed him. So we're really going to dive deep into his experience and see what we can learn from it. Before I get into it though, I'm going to start off with a Bible verse which ties into the topic of the video. Jeremiah 17, verse 9 through 11. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, the Lord, search the heart and try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruits of his doings. Now we can begin with Jimmy's story. So first of all, we're going to cover his background, what happened to him. So he says, "Hi Christian, my name is Jimmy." Not really Jimmy, but I'm going to call him Jimmy. "I feel you and the topics of your videos are very important and helpful to me and to a lot of other people. Some of this might be unique and most of it probably not. I was in a relationship for 2 years and now it's been almost 2 months since it ended. I've learned so many things in the last few months about myself and other people. 12 years ago, I became a caregiver for my very sick father. He had several health issues, including blindness and dementia. I did not want to have him put in a home, so I stepped up and put my life on hold to take care of him in his own house, surrounded by his family. Along the way, I lost a long-term relationship, friends, and work, but I would do it a million times over. He died in the end of January 2020. Well, I'm really sorry for your loss, and I deeply respect the integrity in your character. What you did was very righteous. You obviously have a great relationship with your dad, and towards the end of his life, you stepped up and decided to take care of him. That is lovely. And what's good about this, because you were there towards his final days, it's going to give you more closure. That's wonderful. I was in my late 40s and then I wanted to get my life back on track. I've been in the IT field for most of my life, so he's a computer nerd. And right when I was about to begin a new chapter in my life, COVID hit, putting my life and everyone else's on hold again. About 3 months later, I was on Instagram. I've never really used social media before. I collect different things and enjoy looking at pictures of other collections on Instagram. It's my way to enjoy my hobby. I'm a sci-fi nerd and I communicate with other nerds like myself. One night, this is when she comes into his life and derails everything. One night, I get all these likes on my pictures. I didn't think anything of it, and then I started receiving selfies. I thought it was someone fooling around because they were of a beautiful woman. She ended up being real, and it was the start of a 2-year long distance relationship. She was close to my age, so I figured the mind games would be at a minimum. But I think she knew where to find guys with low self-esteem and set traps. Remember, emotional abusers, immature people, and narcissists are the ones who are going to utilize love bombing. It is the process by which they pull you in. They, as it says in the name, love bombing. They bomb you with affection, with seduction, to throw you off guard. So you're focused on the intensity of the emotions that they're throwing your way, and because it feels good, you turn a blind eye to the red flags, to the fact that this individual doesn't know you. They're acting very intimate and close to you, despite the fact that you're just a stranger. And even though something seems amiss, they keep pounding away, dropping bombs on you, emotionally speaking, which blinds you even more to the truth of the situation. Next thing you know, you find yourself lowering your guard even more, opening yourself up. You start receiving more of that love, which is nothing more than a form of manipulation, because real love is built up over time. It doesn't happen overnight. But as you open yourself up, you start to build an attachment. You've invested. Now you want to see where it goes. So because you have one foot in the door, your focus and attention is now on all of the affection you're receiving. Makes it very dangerous. So if you are in a vulnerable position, if you have low self-esteem, or if you're a guy or a gal who, you're not used to interacting with a very attractive member of the opposite sex, if a narcissist, a Jezebel comes along, their manipulation and their love bombing will work on you. Because this beautiful woman randomly just starts sending him pictures and initiating contact, and he's a total stranger. That's not normal. As he said, she knew where to find guys with low self-esteem and set traps. Yeah, she's done it before. She claims to be a huge fan of different sci-fi movies, but later I found out she knew close to nothing on the topics. Things moved very fast, especially for me, only having 3 serious relationships in my life. So obviously you're not aware that there are individuals out there that are capable of doing such a thing, because you just didn't know any better. You had a knowledge gap. Anyways, the whole thing moved faster than I've ever experienced. Yeah, they need to further it on. They need to go full speed, put their foot on the gas, because they can't give you any window for you to sit back, use your rationale, and evaluate the situation from a logical standpoint. Because if you took the time to do that, then you'd start to wonder, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. I'm a total stranger, and she's acting way too serious too soon. So they keep going. That's why it's called love bombing. If you're being bombarded, right, and you're in a trench, you're in a bunker, you can't do anything until the bombing stops. You're stuck there. You're trapped. And that is what she's doing. But I was in a very vulnerable time because he just lost his father. So he's grieving the loss of his father. He's lamenting this experience. And then in comes a woman, and it's something totally new. COVID happened, he's in lockdown. He thinks, why not? It's going to take his mind off of, the death of his father. So I was very vulnerable, but I just went on with it. I've seen all kinds of weird things. I was a DJ for 5 years when I was younger, so you can imagine the interactions I've had. But I've never got involved with anyone at the time. The love bombing started several hundred times a day. Long distance was something none of us were ever used to, so I looked at it as overcompensating. But by the end, I had over 10,000 pictures of her and 300 cards and several packages. There were never any fights, but several red flags I just pushed aside. One day, everything was normal as every other day, and the next day I get a text saying it's over, and that was it. No explanation, no talking, nothing, and I didn't know what to do or think. I knew the distance really bothered her, but we always talked about working something out after the pandemic died down. It's funny because that day I was going to tell her I was going to finally come down to see her. She did not know about this at all. And she did this on the anniversary of my father's death. So she basically says to you, we're done, on the day your father died. We both became close to each other's families, especially me and her mother. Later that day, her mother called me and said, my ex has BPD. Well, people that have mental health issues are very prone to love bombing, because for them, it's just an in-the-moment feeling. It's emotional. They only care about satisfying their own needs. Love is selfless. It's about giving to the other person. They are incapable of doing that. People that are mentally ill and unwell are not relationship material. So yeah, the mother confesses, yeah, she's got BPD. She didn't think it was an issue or problem because she never saw her daughter so happy. A terrible assumption. I would always get thank yous from her mother for loving her daughter the way I did, but it was over. I was devastated and lost. Discarded like trash by someone else planning a future with. Someone I thought loved me as dearly as I loved her, but you didn't know her. You were manipulated by your feelings. I've learned so much about the disorder now. I never heard of it before. I immediately threw everything in the trash and deleted every single pic, text, and email. Good. I blocked her on my phone and everything else I can think of. This led me to do something I should have done a long time ago, get into therapy. Well, you hit an emotional wall and now you're actually ready. Okay, because when your worldview stops working for you, that's when you decide, you know what, I need to try something else. What I've been doing up until now in my life is not getting me the results or getting me to the place where I want to be. It is time for a change. Sometimes for some people, you have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired, or go through a serious hardship like this to shake you out of that complacency and realize you stopped growing a long time ago. One of our human needs is growth. You need to be moving forward. You need to be learning and expanding. If you stay still, you die. And obviously, emotionally speaking, you die emotionally speaking, mentally, because you stay in the same place. But now you're ready to grow because of what you went through. Sometimes it takes something like that. I'm working on my codependency. Again, the people that are more prone to love bombing are those that have low self-esteem. Codependency goes hand in hand with low self-esteem, for example. Because if you're someone you're confident, you're at peace, you have a life that's fulfilling, you're going to spot a manipulator. You're not going to be taken advantage of. So again, if you're in a vulnerable position as well, you lose a loved one, things aren't going well for you in your life, and in comes a very attractive member of the opposite sex that you're not used to, you're going to jump on that because it's going to be something new and exciting because your life is empty and that's filling in the gap. So you're going to be glued to that, hooked to it. You don't want to let it go. That's when it becomes dangerous. So I'm working on my codependency and getting over the hurt caused by the breakup. She obviously was monkey branching and God knows what else. I trusted her to be loyal and faithful as I was, but she lied. That person never existed. A few weeks ago, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize, saying I moved on and found my soulmate. Oh, that's nice. What a nice woman. Well, that other guy's going to be dealing with her mental issues now, so that's his problem now. And I was a soulmate a few weeks ago, apparently, lol. But as hard as it was, at first I was not going to respond, but I did. I said, I wish you well, I'm doing great, don't ever text or contact me again. I don't know if this was an in-person relationship, could have been a lot worse, depending on the situation. Because she can do more damage to you from distance. Because she can hide behind the screen, she can hide behind text messages. You don't get to see her physiology, her body language, the non-verbal communication. And you don't know what she's doing in the time you're not around her, given the fact that she already had all these issues, which we're going to get into now. There would have been physical contact to deal with and possible recycling. It's very hard, but I'm healing. I'm leaving so much out, but what makes it even worse is I felt like I lost a daughter too. There were things that actually made me feel like a father she never had. Daddy issues? That would take a little more explanation, but if you've made it this far, I want to know, and you want to know more, or even share this to help others, please let me know, and I'll tell you everything. Yeah, so I got back to him, and he sent me more information, which I really love. He details everything, which we're going to cover now. How it started, her family background, her father, her life, her past relationships, her friendships, about the daughter feeling. So now is when we're really going to break it down. Let's get into it. Now that we have some background information on Jimmy, let's really analyze where he went wrong. Guys, prevention is better than cure. You are responsible for the quality of woman that you choose. If you make a decision to commit based on lust, loneliness, fear of being alone, you've got low self-esteem, you're codependent, you are in a very dangerous position because you are not vetting the character and the background of the woman you are with. You are going to grow closer to her. And if you are with someone like this, who is mentally unwell, who has some narcissistic tendencies, has some immaturity, and other character flaws, you will brush that aside because they're giving you attention, they're giving you affection. You feel like you have something new in your life. That is a very bad position to be in. This is how many men are brought to their knees, because they get involved with a woman that isn't right for them. Be very careful. So how did it all start? Like I mentioned, I received 50, if not more, likes on my photos. They were not of me, but of items of my collections. My sci-fi stuff, coins, music, just about anything. But there was not one picture of me, which I just thought about as I'm writing this. She had no idea what I even looked like. So that's a huge red flag and re-evaluation. Exactly. She doesn't know if you're even handsome or not. So why would she even want to interact with you? If at least on your profile picture you had some pictures of you, she can see, wow, this guy's good looking. Yes, then it would be somewhat understandable. But the fact that she doesn't even know if you're going to meet her minimum looks requirements or not, and then she's interacting with you, sending you pictures of herself, giving you all this attention, this is planned out, like she's writing it from a sales script. She knew what she was doing. You were the prey and she was the hunter. Okay? She's had experience doing this before. You were just the next victim. So anyways, I posted a thank you message, which is pretty common on Instagram. I took a screenshot of someone who liked several pictures and say things like, thank you, thanks for the likes, thanks for the support. So as soon as I did that, I got a response. So yeah, she liked all of your pictures, 50 pictures. You're going to think, oh wow, I'm going to reach out and say thank you. So she threw some bait and you took a bite. Now she's going to reel you into her net. You fell right into a trap. So she sent me a DM with a picture of her. I didn't even ask or give it any thought. Exactly. I mean, think about this. You're both strangers. She doesn't know what you look like, but yet she's willing to show you a picture of her. What if you're a creep? What if you're some weirdo who's going to just do strange things with a picture? Which I'm not going to get into that on here, but there's creepy guys that do that. So as a woman, if she wanted to protect herself, she'd be very cautious, wouldn't she? Does she not care for her own safety? Remember, women that value themselves, that want a quality man because they're not dating, they're courting with the intention to marry, find a man to spend their life with, they need to make sure that guy's strong. They need to make sure that guy's confident. They need to make sure he's safe to be around. Because that's the only way she has to protect herself from a man. She needs to make sure that you are a safe bet for her to be around, to give herself to. She needs to vet your character. And if a woman, isn't going to test you to determine these things, she doesn't have any standards. Or if she's mentally unwell or narcissistic and has emotionally damaged, then she's not even going to care about those things because she is unable to bond. Therefore, if she can't build an emotional connection because she's messed up, why would she care to test you? Guys, pay attention. She doesn't even know what you look like, man. So I didn't even ask or give it any thought. Yet, here is a picture of someone that looks so beautiful. On the outside, he says. Yeah, not on the inside. Then I said, okay, who is this really? She said, I'm real, and proceeds to send more pictures. It's like she had them all set up just waiting to send. Yeah, because she did. And probably sent to many others. She said, I love your collection. Seeing what you have really excites me. That is something a gold digger would say. How could she be attracted to you based on what you do, what you have? That's disingenuous. It's unnatural. It's fake. A woman that has integrity, she wants a guy who's attractive. The same way you guys want a woman who's beautiful, but who also has, good qualities within. A woman, she wants a guy who's husband material, but she also wants a guy she's into physically. If you're not attracted to someone, if there's no chemistry, you're not really going to care about the compatibility because you're just not into them, okay? If there's no physical desire, you're not going to want to get to know her. If you don't meet her minimum looks requirements, she's not going to want to build a connection unless she's messed up and doesn't care about those things. And again, she's not even asking, well, can I see what you look like now that I've sent you a picture? No, she doesn't even care. She's kind of like trying to raise your self-esteem by saying, oh, I'm really excited. Seeing what you have really excites me. That is so strange. How can that turn her on? That's not you. That's an inanimate object. Those are things. But again, if she's narcissistic, they have this way about where they see people like toys and objects that they pick up and use. So maybe that's why. You're just a thing to her. You're just an extension of your collection. She doesn't even see you as a person. It's a very soulless thing to say, but that's what these individuals are like. They're messed up. They can't see you as a person. They can't see your emotions. They can't see your heart or your character. They don't even care about that. In other words, all they want to know is, are you going to benefit them? Can they take from you? Can they extract and suck you dry? So, yeah, seeing what you have really excites me. I'm also a big fan. Where do you live so I can see it in person? That doesn't sound normal. You're a stranger and she's willing to come and see you. What if you're going to do a Ted Bundy on her and she just goes missing? Again, women that value themselves are going to test a guy and they're not going to go and see him when they're strangers. She needs to make sure you are safe for her to come and be around you. You don't know each other. You're a total stranger. She hasn't even seen what you look like. And right away she's saying, where do you live so I can come and see? At this point, I'm almost laughing. I'm thinking, who the heck is this fooling around? Is it someone I know? Some random guy playing a sick game? I told what state I live in. Man, why? I assumed it wasn't the same based on her username and pics. So it was not around here. She had a few hundred pictures up, several memes, but mostly of just her. Never doing anything, just posing. No hobby shots like hiking or restaurants, just her in different outfits. Attention seeking. Women that are stable, you look at their Instagram and they'll have a picture up with their family, their girlfriends, their dogs, their cats, scenery, poetry, a Bible verse, some food, activities, hobbies. The ones that are more vain, they're going to be the girls that just have face, body, because they want to be noticed and they want external validation. As I say all the time, women that are emotionally damaged want attention and validation. Women that are emotionally stable will only seek the presence of their loved ones, friends, family, boyfriend or husband. Point blank, period. Okay? So within 15 minutes, she wants to come over. At this point, I'm seeing a red flag. Again, as I say all the time, if there is a red flag, you will always identify it at the beginning. And if there's one, there's usually more. Okay? When a woman is a Proverbs 31 girl, she's godly, she's traditional, she's feminine, she's ladylike, she has integrity, and she's with you for the right reasons, or wants to get to know you for genuine reasons, you will always see 0 red flags. Everything will be a green flag, and it's safe for you to then get to know her. And as the weeks and months go on, words and actions will match, things will be consistent. But with a red flag, they always pop up at the beginning. I've had over 1,000 emails come through now, men and women, all ages, races, backgrounds. And when I see situations like this, from different case studies, I see it all the time. If there is ever a red flag, you're going to see it at the beginning. But this is when I always say, again, you're responsible for the woman you choose. You don't get to come to me and say, but Christian, I didn't know any better. Yes, you did. He said it himself just here. I saw a red flag. Then why did you continue on? A red flag it's not a challenge that you need to break through. No, a red flag is a warning sign that there is a character flaw, personality defect, incompatibility, or something seriously wrong that disqualifies that person as someone you should get to know or give the position of being someone serious that you build a relationship with. They are disqualified immediately. The red flags you ignore at the beginning become the deal breakers in the end, whether you like it or not. It's up to you. The red flags are there. You turned a blind eye because you chose feelings over principles. You betrayed your morals. You reap what you sow, right? God gives you according to your works. Are you trusting God here, or are you trusting your feelings? Your heart is deceiving you. So yeah, I'm thinking this is weird. Within 15 minutes, she wants to come over. This is a red flag. This isn't normal at all. But the conversation went on more and more. So friendly, sweet and kind, but with a little edge to her. So a few hours later, I just pushed my initial red flag finding aside. What was I just saying? He just swept it under the rug, letting all that trash accumulate under his bed. Well, no one's cleaning it up. It's still going to be there. Eventually, it's going to come out. And then you got more to clean up. Doesn't sound too good, does it, fellas? I'm thinking, what's the worst that can happen? We live 1,500 miles apart, so I continue to engage, asking questions like, what do you do? What else are you interested in? And because of the timing of losing my father a few months prior, I asked, do you come from a big family? Good questions to ask. Well, at first I would get a vague answer, followed by another picture and another picture. She's trying to distract you. Isn't that cute? She's dropping more bombs on you. Obviously, to distract me. She only mentioned her sister and mother and told me she was like Cinderella, bossed around by evil sisters. Painting herself to be a little victim. Something like that, and I can't remember exactly. Yeah, when you're abused, emotionally abused, you're not going to remember all the details. Initially. The ones towards the end you will, because you'll have more of an emotional charge, because by then your feelings are built up. But initially it's going to be blurry when you go back to the beginning. This went on for hours. And I finally said I need to go to sleep. She saved every part of this and other conversations. She would often read them back to me from time to time, saying it was the best day of her life meeting me. Yeah, that's a very classic that a narcissist or someone with mental health issues will say to begin with. How can it be the best day of her life meeting you, texting you, when she doesn't even know what you look like? Usually the best day for someone's life is when they hit a milestone. Their relationship is going well, they're married and they realize, wow, I've got a good spouse in my life. When their children are born. When they achieve something. When they overcome a trauma. For me, accepting Jesus Christ, confessing that he is Lord, that was the best day of my life. Thus far. Nothing can top that for me. There's always going to be good moments in your life, amazing moments in your life. Getting into business with a lovely associate who becomes your friend. Personal milestones, right? Maybe for you it's losing weight and you hit your goal, right? Or it's putting on muscle, or it's overcoming a trauma. Great. Those are days you can consider, this is the best day of my life. But she doesn't even know what you look like. And again, a guy who's vulnerable or has low self-esteem, he's going to fall for that and believe it. And she's giving him vague answers and pounding him with pictures to distract him even more. He's like a marionette and she's like the puppeteer master, just with the strings, pulling the strings, manipulating him, dodging and weaving, only giving an answer when she needs to. She knows what she's doing, man. She's reading from a script. Very evil. So, yeah, saying it was the best day of her life meeting me. Read them word for word. Only recently did I feel this is a form of manipulation, so I wouldn't forget and think this was supposed to be the best day of my life. A few hours later, I wake up and see I have an Instagram notification. Several messages. I miss you. I'm thinking about you. Man, if I met a girl on her first day and that's the message I get, I'm blocking it right away. That is creepy. That's something you say after you've been courting each other for 4 weeks, 1 date per week, 3-4 weeks, a month in. You both start tethering, a connection, chemistry, compatibility, it's all going well. You develop some rapport. You're busy, you're on your grind, she sends you a message, I miss you, I can't wait to see you again, then it's normal. You're in a relationship, you're slaying the dragon, you're at work, your girl messages you, she calls you, I miss you, I want to see you later. Then it's normal. Because there's been enough time for those feelings to be genuine and for her to really internalize what it means to not have you around. Because when you're absent, she values your presence because she's built the connection. In this case, you've been talking for one day. In fact, for a few hours, you go to bed, you wake up and you see a message saying, I miss you. Man, red flag alert. That's not good, Jimmy. I miss you, I'm thinking about you. Yeah, I'm thinking about manipulating you, more like. I'm thinking about how easy it is to deceive you. You're perfect. Man, it's getting even worse. I miss you, I'm thinking about you, you're perfect, and I want to be with you. Let me translate this. I miss manipulating you. I'm thinking about wasting your time. You're perfectly easy for me to exploit, and I want to be with you to drain your energy. That's what she really means, because her actions are going to show it. As the weeks went by, the text became more about love, countless heart emojis, and in my whole life, I've never had anything like this happen to me. It was so hard to keep a clear head. Love bombing in full effect. You're being bombed, you're in the bunker and everything's shaking, your ears are ringing, you don't know when it's going to stop. You can't think clearly, man. Of course not. I'm thinking this only happens to other men, not me. I became happy again. Everyone noticed. People that haven't seen me in years said, you look radiant, glowing. And for nearly 2 years I was. But it wasn't because of me, it was because of her. Now I see how dangerous that is. She did send me several cards and small care packages, and I would do the same. Not as many because it was out of control. She never asked for anything like gifts or money. I would just send like trinkets and stuffed animals. Why are you sending stuffed animals to a grown woman who's also in her 40s? That is just strange. But again, we'll see now with the daughter stuff. She loves stuffed animals and had thousands of them. Funny, I kind of feel like one now. And an older one, and now she just got a new one. It's a funny analogy, but it's true. Now we get into the family background. As far as I know, she lived with her sisters and her sister's boyfriends. All she ever did was complain about them, comparing herself to Cinderella all the time because her sister and her boyfriend were so mean to her and made her do all the housework, cleaning and laundry. Funny, she said she thought her sister had a mental problem. She's projecting what she's got going on. Yet the few times I interacted with her sister, she seemed fine, at least to me. I didn't detect any anger in her voice or text. Touching on the Cinderella comment, she was very obsessed with all things Disney. Yeah, she's a bit... You can see, because she's got mental health issues, she's like a little girl, trapped in the body of a woman. It's like she hasn't grown up. So physically, she looks like a woman, but mentally, she's like still a child. Again, BPD. She's going to be up and down, Jekyll and Hyde. Not worth it. So obsessed with Disney, and she would talk about these things as if they were real. I've got nothing against Disney at all. I like sci-fi stuff, but it was very unusual, even to me. Living so close to Disney, I figured a lot of people living that close all their lives might be a bit into it. It just fits with how she saw things, very much like a Disney story. Her mother was very kind, sent me thank you cards for loving her daughter, regularly chatted on text with me about all sorts of things. She was in her mid-70s and seemed very well off. Owning 2 homes, and her career here was in health insurance companies. I picked up nothing unusual and appeared to really like me. She's married, but I'm not exactly sure what number husband he is. Family's messed up. I never talked to him or communicated with him in any way. He was in his 80s and did not play with phones. I don't know how long they were together. She was close to her mother, but constantly complained about her sister. I noticed that when she was at her mother's house, her mother was catering to her. Not like a 46-year-old, so she was 46, this woman, but more like a young teenager. So she's treating her like she's a little girl. That is weird, man. Lastly, her grandmother. She would take her shopping and clean her house. This really attracted me to her, seeing how she cared for her grandmother. That's actually sweet. But was it real? I'm doubting everything she told me. The grandmother was almost 100 but sharp. Talked to me a few times, and there were problems with her mother and her mother's siblings. Her grandmother would instigate trouble between them by making up stories. It's weird. She almost appeared to enjoy making trouble with them, like it was fun. Yeah, it's not like she has a very dysfunctional family. Like mother, like daughter. If she's hanging around these people, especially their family, she's going to emulate their behavior, unless she grows from it, of course, and educates herself from other sources to how to really become a healthy woman. But because she's got mental illness, nothing's going to change. So now we get into the father. Since he hasn't mentioned the dad, let's see what happens there. She talked very little, close to nothing about her father. I do know he left when she was very young. She didn't know him. Her sister mentioned a few things. Being older, she seemed to recall him being very nasty. Though he lived nearby, no one spoke to him. I assume he's in his 70s. That's all I know about him. I'm sure there's a lot more about this under the surface. Well, the mother already caters to her like she's a little girl. But then, in regards to her father, all we know is that he left when she was young. Why did he leave? Was he the problem? Did the mother say to him enough is enough? Or was the mother so problematic that he left? We don't know. But she didn't really have a relationship. So if she doesn't have a strong father figure or doesn't have God in her life, doesn't know how to trust in men, how can she know how to appreciate a good man, let alone love a man or treat a man? How? They say a father is a girl's first heartbreak or first love. And if he wasn't her first love, he was her first heartbreak. Now, a question I have for you. How many young women actually heal from that first heartbreak? Very few. When they don't, that split fractures her personality, traumatizes her in her childhood, and causes her to have daddy issues. Unless she heals, nothing you can do. Disqualified, not relationship material. Her life. Now we're going to get into her background. She has 2 children, one in the late teens and early 20s. She did not have custody of her teenage son. Ding ding, we have another red flag, fellas. So why are you even dating? So you are a single guy with no kids and you're going to go and date a single mom? Come on, man. Look, unless you're infertile and you can't have children, okay. Why don't you go for a girl who you could have a family with? Come on, man. She's got 2 kids and she doesn't have custody of a teenage son. What does that tell you about her? What a good mum, right? She would only see him on Saturdays. Never told me why that is. Yeah, I wonder why. Wonder why she didn't tell you, man. Maybe someone in the comments can tell you why. She said she was divorced because her ex-husband was very abusive. The amount of times I've heard this, he was abusive, in some cases it's true. But when you hear someone say that the ex was abusive, but there's really no evidence, and then they jump into a relationship to be with you, or they've always shown a track record of getting into relationships with multiple people, I guarantee you that ex wasn't abusive. Anybody who has truly been abused by a narcissist, by anyone who had, they were on drugs and they were abusing alcohol and they lashed out and they were aggressive. Anybody who's been in a situation like that will tell you from experience that after going through a relationship where their emotions were played with, where they were taken advantage of, whether they were physically, emotionally, or financially abused, they really need time to be alone. If you've been abused, there is no way on this earth you are going to take the time to jump into a new relationship. You are really going to want to be alone because of what you went through. So if she was really with an abusive guy, but then she's being with another man and another man and another man, you might want to look at her. We already know the son. She doesn't have custody over him. So who does have custody? The father, the ex-husband. So if she has an ex-husband and he's so abusive, how come he has custody of the son? That's all I'm going to say, Jimmy. Not so much hitting, but mental. Like he would not help her when she was sick. Yeah. Made her do everything while they were together. Made him out to be a terrible and uncaring person. Yeah, that's why he has custody, right? Because he's so terrible. He would communicate through her mother. She said she hated him and wanted nothing to do with him. I never interacted with him, very little. but I know they've been divorced for 5 to 6 years. Now we get into her past relationships. All I really know is about her last relationship, according to her, that he was very mean and physically abusive. He would kick and punch her and treated her terribly. She told me she stayed because she felt that's all she deserved in life. Let's get this straight. The ex-husband is mentally abusive, they have a divorce, and she doesn't even have custody of their teenage son. Then, after going through all of that pain, right, she gets into a relationship with a guy who's also abusive, but this time it's physically. Then that also ends. This is all according to her. This is the same woman that's lied to you from day one. You're perfect. I miss you. Right? I want to be with you. Just after a few hours of talking, and she doesn't even know what you look like. You'd think if a woman had been through all of that, she'd be more cautious about choosing a spouse. Especially if she married the wrong guys and had kids. She'd want to be even more careful because she's got more to lose. Right? Oh wait. She doesn't even have custody of a kid. If that man was abusive, the court would have deemed him unfit to take care of the kid and she would have full rights. But since she's mentally unwell and she's lying to you, that's not the case. So, is she telling you the truth about this ex-boyfriend of hers? You tell me. I'm only going off of what I can see. And I've seen cases like this hundreds of times. People that have BPD, people that have mental health issues, and also because narcissism runs on a spectrum, tends to overlap. They tend to have some form of selfishness to them, where they lie. But even if she did get involved with an abusive man, and she's done it with the ex-husband and she did it with him, what does that say about her? She's damaged. She's allowing those men into her life. She doesn't value her safety. Anybody who's been with one abusive spouse, one abusive ex, learns from it and does not do it again. Ever. They'd rather be single for the rest of their lives than get into a commitment with someone who has the same character traits that they've already seen. Because once you've been through it, you're more aware and you can spot the lies, you can spot the love bombing, you can spot the manipulation, you can spot the mind games. You spot the early warning signs. Anybody who's been a victim to an abusive ex knows this, and they don't let it happen to them again. It is very rare and very seldom happens multiple times. So if she is really getting involved with abusive partner after abusive partner, look at the pattern recognition. She's allowing those men into her life because she's damaged, and she's attracted to broken men because maybe her father, the thing she's not telling you what he was like when he wasn't around. You don't know. Because a woman that was raised well, mentally stable, healthy, she'd know what to look for in a man. I'm not buying it, man. I'm not buying her story. These stories broke my heart. Yeah, they're all stories. She was very small and petite, and I was horrified by this. I would literally be in tears. Feeling so bad. It just made me want to love and protect her even more. She wasn't just beautiful, but very vulnerable and sad, and also a liar and a manipulator. Very childlike, real or not, I couldn't help but want to love and protect her. And I would have respected her and loved her until the day I died. She took an injured bird and nursed it back to health. It doesn't change anything, man. Yeah, she can nurse a bird back to health, but she doesn't have custody of her own kid. Mother of the year, everybody. Come on, man. All this made it near impossible to worry about the red flags. Again, you're responsible for brushing them aside. I don't know what she wanted to do with her life, other than working in retail years ago. That's another problem. Women that are traditionally minded, again, are mentally stable, know exactly what they want. They want to be a wife and a mother. They want a good man to love. They want a peaceful life. And for guys watching, whenever you date someone, even for the ladies watching, and they tell you, I don't know what I want, that's either somebody who just came out of a long-term relationship and they genuinely don't know. This is either someone who is immature, has unresolved trauma from past relationships or childhood, which makes them incapable of opening up. Therefore, they're too afraid to commit and they don't want something long-term. They don't even know how to handle it. Therefore, they tell you, I don't know. And also people that are not traditionally minded. They don't believe in marriage. They don't believe in building a family. They don't want to have something like that. They just want something short-term because they're lustful. And they just want to satisfy their flesh. Those are going to be the types of people that say, I don't know. Because when I coach guys, I get them to the point where it's very precise. They know exactly what they want. Because I change their mindset on the outlook on relationships. Before you even court or date, you should go in knowing exactly what you want. Would you go and buy a car and just go blindly into the dealership and, I don't know what I'm looking for? Crap. That's rubbish. Before you go and buy something, you do your market research. You check the prices, you see the value, you see the offer, you go through every precise detail because you're making an investment. And especially when it comes to relationships, men and women of quality and high worth know exactly what they want. Quality men know they want a wife and children. Therefore, they have that as an end goal. So when they court, they're dating based on that. Is she wife material? They're already looking for that from the beginning, which is why quality men vet a woman's character, which is why quality women test a man to make sure he's husband material and he's safe to be around. And since she didn't do those things and she's fucked up, she's mentally ill, she's going to say, I don't know. If you ever hear that from someone, that's very dangerous. Disqualified. Other than working in retail years ago, her sister offered her a job where she worked, but she wasn't interested. That's all she wanted. The only thing she ever talked about regarding the future was that she wanted to be with me. Yeah, sure she did. That's all she wanted. When she acted scared or unusual, she claimed to have PTSD from her abusive relationship. This kind of helped me understand and keep pushing red flags away. Man, she is the problem. I suffer from depression and anxiety from things that I've been through, so I never judged her. Just felt even more connected. She told me she had 4 serious relationships in her life and she said she was faithful. Yeah. Now we get into her friendships and we're closing in on the end here. So as you can see, it's very intense. But guys, you can see when you're misled by your emotions, when you're deceived by a manipulator, how easy it is to be led astray. But when you're grounded in righteousness and truth, you see things clearly, you're not lustful, you know what qualities make a woman wife material, which are in my book, you've educated yourself, you have an end goal, everything's detailed, you're not going to be swayed by someone like this. But he has anxiety, he has his own problems, he was in a vulnerable place losing his father. It can happen to anyone, and he's an older guy. In regards to her friendships, she did not interact with anyone else. She said she left all the bad stuff in her past and didn't want to go back. So I don't know anything about what friends she had or what they were like. Meeting her during the start of COVID, it wasn't unusual for someone not to go out much, and I rarely left the house myself during that time. Living through all of this, can you see how I could felt the way I did? The red flags, like how this whole thing started, things that I observed seemed to balance or cancel them out. For you, they did. Because you were emotional. You were misled by your loneliness and your lust. You weren't going off a principle. We talked every day, texted all the time, okay? Where's your life outside of her? Even if you were in COVID, you could have still been working out. You could have been reading books. You could have had hobbies or other things to do, other than your collections, to really keep you occupied. But you kind of pedestalized her because you were being love bombed. I told her that this would not be a long distance relationship forever. As you know, I was planning a visit and I was hoping we could work something out. I don't know what, but I'll never leave her and stop caring for her. Well, look, with long distance, it goes one of 3 ways. You move to her, she moves to you, or you both independently move to somewhere together. And again, you still need to get to know one another. You really shouldn't move in unless you're married or engaged. So again, there's no mention of her friends. If she can't build bonds with make fellowship with other ladies, other women, what does that say about her? With men, iron sharpens iron. You need to be around other men to develop your masculinity. So if somebody doesn't have a track record of at least keeping 1, 2, or anyone in their life long term, they are usually the problem and no one wants to be around them. You know, people that are integrity, that are fun to be around, that are likable, they have at least some friendship, even if it's 1 or they've had a few. She has no track record of that. Unless she's lived under a rock or she's a Mormon, she doesn't go out anywhere. She should be able to have at least one friend, no childhood friend, no one she knew. I mean, no one. She's in her 40s and she doesn't have anyone. Sounds like nobody likes her. About the daughter feeling. At times she was very childlike. At times she was very childlike. I thought that it was some type of role playing. She knew how much I always wanted to be a father. Then marry a woman who's young enough to give you kids. Don't go for a woman in her 40s who can't give you kids, who's already had kids from a different man. It's like playing another man's video game save file. I'm not saying that to be insulting to anyone, but if you are single and you are childless and you would like to have a family, marry a woman who wants the same things, where you both have a clean slate and can do it together. Come on, man. She knew how much I always wanted to be a father and wanting me to treat her like a baby. Dude, that's weird. She had all these plans and ideas of what she wanted to do regarding this. Nothing sexual, but just being cared for. She has some serious mental health issues. No wonder she has BPD. Look at what she's like. She's like a child, inside. She hasn't put that away. She hasn't grown past that. What does Paul say in the Bible? When I became a man, I put away childish things. Okay, you put it away. She hasn't done that. She's bringing it out. She's still a child. She's still a little girl. She's really not a woman, not mentally, not with it. But yet she went ahead and got married and had kids. These things made me want to be with her more and more. She became my whole world and I thought I became hers. You might want to look if you got mummy issues. Because a guy with high testosterone who's masculine, he's attracted to a woman that's feminine in all regards. If you're confident, you're at peace in your life, and you developed your manhood. You're just masculine. You're not going to be attracted to a woman that wants to be treated like she's a little girl. Yes, you will be attracted to a woman that's feminine and ladylike and soft and tender and sweet, and she's caring and giving and submissive. But if she expects you to treat you like a little girl, dude, that is some weird mummy daddy issue type thing where she's got daddy issues, so she wants to be treated like she's a baby and she sees you as the father she never had, and you got mummy issues and you want to baby her the way you were never maybe babied. Man, it's just strange. Don't want to go down that road. She became my world and I thought I became hers. Yeah, you thought. And then she discarded me. That's what narcissists do. They love bomb you, they devalue you, and then they discard you. And if they do stick around, they will hoover you and come back in. But in this case, it's just stuck on number 3. She just discarded you. Phase 3. After she discarded me, it was like the rug. It was like pulling the rug from under me. Yeah, all those red flags just activated at once and off she went. All the time I put in, all the plans and actions and words just gone. No goodbye, no sorry, no let's work on it, nothing. Dude, because you were manipulated from day one. This woman was never relationship material. She never wanted to commit to you. You were just a source of attention. You were a toy she picked up and used. She was messed up. She doesn't have custody of her kids. She's lied to you about everything. And she was playing around with you. But because you had low self-esteem, you fell for it. I'm not ashamed to say that my heart was completely broken and I never cried so much in my life. Not even the death of a relative was this bad. So you're telling me that it was more painful losing a woman that didn't even care about you than your father. This is why it's so dangerous when you're misled by your emotions. This isn't even like, it's not like you had a wife. She was a good woman to you and she passed away. Okay, you'd grieve that. This is a woman that didn't even care about you. She was just using you. Got to snap out of it, my man. Have to snap out of it. I thought if only I went down to see her, followed by several should haves, I felt it was my fault. The only fault you have in this is interacting with her and letting it get to the point where you committed. You should have paid attention to the red flags you saw at the beginning and cut her ass off. Prevention is better than cure. I couldn't give her what she needed, so she left. I learned that it was over right when it started with anyone having BPD or any other disorder. Yeah, BPD, narcissism, even bipolar, they all tend to overlap and mesh. Crazy how that works. Getting that text a few weeks after made me realize none of it was real. I do feel foolish and ashamed I let this happen. There's absolutely nothing I can or could have done. Next month I'm visiting my uncles that live in Florida, He invited me to help me get away for a little while. When I arrived there, I will be about an hour away from her for the first time. At first I declined this offer, but then I thought, no, I won't let her ruin this too. Amen. Yeah, spend time with your family. It will do good for you. I'm going to spend time with my relatives and have fun as much as I can. Now you're talking. He says, I want other people to learn from this if they can. Unfortunately, we all wait to look into this after it's already happened. Maybe one day somebody will take an interest and it could save their future. Can't wait to get your book and read it. Well, if any of you also can't wait, well, the link to my book is in the description. It takes you right to the Amazon page. You can order your copy. Ebook, you can download it instantly, or you can order a paperback and hardcover that will be sent right to you. You can start reading. And if you'd like to support me furthermore, you can drop a review on Amazon and write down your thoughts, how it's helped you. Or get back to me with a success story in the future. Write down an email to better educate men and women about relationships. He says, you're a blessing. Thank you from the bottom of my heart and deep in my soul, Jimmy. And I appreciate that, Jimmy. Thank you for all the love and support. And for anybody who's new, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I post weekly. And for anybody else who would like to share their experience with me to break down in a future video, or like to do a coaching call with me privately, the email is down below in the description. With that said, hope you will have a wonderful day. Definitely drop down your thoughts and any of the questions you have in the comment section. And I'll see you all in the next one.